Not to classical academia, but certainly to current academia, because I think current academia is like ludicrously human, capital inefficient, and it's also inefficient in terms of capital. Like, I think it would be very easy to compete with literally all of contemporary academia in the narrow domain of knowledge production for about $2 billion a year and something like 300 very, very talented thinkers. Like, I think it would be just very easy to do that. And, you know, if you didn't want to compete, but merely wanted to push on the productive frontier, it could probably be done with 50 excellent people and something like $100 million a year. But, you know, I think that the best way to think about contemporary academia is that they are they are the cult of the librarian, recording, cataloging, and cross-indexing known human knowledge, grown to vast proportions. Like, I think, you know, in the distant future, there should definitely be librarians. There should be many of them, but they shouldn't be pretending that they are the originators of most human knowledge. They're not. And this like strategic overreach of academia into the domain of all knowledge production, just because there was some talented academics in 1940s America who made the atomic bomb, who, by the way, learned how to think outside of academia, right? Like, you know, Einstein and so on, right? Or learned in an academia that was really different from current academia. Like, that just seems this vast structural overstretch. And then connecting it to a system of indentured labor, such as the grad school student system, that's like bizarre. I think, like, you know, future historians will like just be having a field day trying to explain this to future societies. So classical academia, though, I think was more intellectually productive, especially if we talk about the German research university. But that's because it was tied into a very different socioeconomic system where it was inherently elitist and inherently self-limiting, rather than in America where the Prussian research university was connected to upward social mobility. And you know, it is impossible to promise an entire society upward social mobility because upward social mobility is about relative position. So it's an impossible thing to promise. Yes, I'm saying like one interpretation of the American dream is inherently impossible. It's self-contradictory, it's self-exploding. Other interpretations such as rising living standards, that's fine, that can work. But the interpretation of like massive upward mobility through the research university makes it be not a very good research university. And the research university, by the way, was the idea that if the academics are not competing too much with each other, so if the librarians are not competing with each other, who produces the most index cards cross-referencing human knowledge, a library is not a bad place to do thinking. So if you can publish once every few years and you're fine, and you present your own findings and you immediately catalog your own findings, that would be a pretty good way to contribute to human knowledge. But it's been long competed away out of that. And I still think there are many brilliant people who are contributing to human knowledge that live in academia, but I feel it's draining their energies rather than contributing to them.
I can testify to that. I've seen that happen.
Well, I hope the answer was not too long and involved, but you did ask a big question. Yeah.
What's the exchange rate? This is a slight follow on, but if someone had significantly less money, but a more coordination ability, like how much do they fudge against each other in terms of, you said 50 good people and 100 million versus, you know?
Well, I think the money is needed to make the success of 50 people legible to the rest of society. I think just to support those 50 people, you would probably need like 2 or 3 million a year. I don't know, a little bit more. Depends on where they live. They don't have, spoiler, they don't have to live in the Bay Area or New York. But to make it legible to the rest of society, you know, if you think about the ancient era, the Bronze Age, with the massive palace where the god king resides with the massive pillars and halls and gold decoration and so on, that's really not for the king. It's kind of like uncomfortable actually living in Versailles. Your food is always cold because it takes forever to get it from the kitchen to where you're living. But the palace isn't for you, it's for the subjects. So I think the $100 million is the amount of money, I think, even with good PR strategy, that is needed for modern America society to say those 50 people are actually great researchers rather than crackpots. That's just the money it takes to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That was usable information. Thanks.
Well, great, great. I disavow crack pottery, of course. Like, you know, I endorse reforming the whole of society. I don't endorse splintering away from it and creating breakaway civilizations.